Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Platitudes, Find Your Roar. I'm your host, Susan Platt, and today we're doing a little something different. We are broadcasting this show from Sunset Hills Vineyard Tasting Room Barn in Purcellville, Virginia. And with the holiday season here, we are all in the giving mood and thinking about others who may not be as fortunate as we are. So I've gathered a few terrific women, new friends of mine, who have found their roars in their own successful businesses while also helping others in their community. But first, I have to mention my friend of 60 years, Heidi Regal, who drove down here from Ohio to be with me today and support me. She refuses to be on camera or on mic, but I'm so glad she's here. Having a friend for nearly your entire life is pretty rare and very special, and I cherish her every day, mainly so she won't tell my secrets, really. But Heidi, it means a lot to me that you're here, and I'm so thankful, and I love you. And it means a lot to me today to be surrounded by these other great women. Carmen Felder, the president of 89 Ways to Give, Mary Tucker, CEO of UPIC Health, Sydney Sykes, Makeup by Sid and Marie, and Helena Gallant of Little Austria Bakery. And here are her products right here. They're really good. But we'll talk to her later. Our hostess today is Diane Canny and her husband Mike, who owns Sunset Hills Vineyard. Mike had a few successful tech businesses, and while Diane had an interesting career in the intelligence field, that's code for a government organization with 3 letters. We won't say what they are. She started Sunset Hills Vineyard in 2008. They just celebrated their 10th anniversary, which is rare in this business. Diane assisted in the renovation and interior design of this 1878 historic barn, working with Amish contractors, in between making, what I love this slogan, great wine for the greater good. She is also an artist, and you can see her scarf here. She designs her own jewelry. She is multi-talented, and they are proud here to produce award-winning 100% Virginia wine right here in the heart of Loudoun County wine country. So Diane, thank you so much. Tell me, since the show is about women finding their roars, tell me how you found your roars.
Well, it took a while. Working in the Intel business is sort of, in a way, helping America for the greater good. So people work tireless hours in these institutions, so a lot of people don't know about that. And it also, with my husband's technology company, by selling that, it gave us the opportunity to save this barn that we're in today. It was actually going to be renovated or not used in a subdivision. So we decided to rescue this barn and then start making authentic 100% Virginia wine. So now we're up to 5 farms. And one of the important things with, I guess, feeling blessed that we've had our success in life is how do you give back to help those who maybe not be as fortunate, to help support the local community. So each month at Sunset Hills, we pick a different charity, and we try to say that we make great wine for the greater good by making authentic wine, supporting lots of local small businesses, and integrating that in our business model. We also have one of the largest solar facilities inside this old barn here. My husband's a physicist. So we actually turn sunshine into wine, and that's another way we feel like we're environmental stewards. We have monarch way stations, and we help raise bluebirds, and some of the things I do with painting these scarves, 100% of the profit from these are used to go to different local charities.
Yeah, but didn't you do this too?
Yes, I actually, I picked a grape,
her necklace,
and I carved this,
her
so
jewelry?
I do a lost wax process as well. So, and I share these and sell these in the winery. So again, how do you give back to make the world a better place? Through wine and through our products that we sell.
And so the products that you design and you make as an artist, all the profits go to charity?
Yes, 100%. And as I said, this month we're doing Operation Coats. So these are coats for kids, mostly in the DC area, so that children develop more confidence. They're kept warmed so that their attendance levels are also improved in school. So that's our particular one. Last month it was the Loudoun Interfaith Relief. So we help support, the hunger for those who don't have basic supplies. And then each month we've actually raised, we're very proud to say that in the last 8 years, we've raised a total of $61,000 for one of the physicians' research centers at Johns Hopkins for breast cancer research. We actually create a sparkling pink wine, one of our wines called Dawn, to support the brave women who are fighting that it's a fresh new day to take on their challenges. So we have during the month of November, We 100% of our profits of those rosés are used to support breast cancer research. So each month it might be, whether it's diabetes or a different topic, we try to find a way to look for ways of giving back. When there were flood victims in Ellicott City, we did a special event for that and donated a few thousand for them as well, way after that disaster had occurred.
So how do you equate being in the CIA to running a vineyard?
Well, just like any jobs, the agency has long hours and lots of dedication, and there's lots of moments when you don't get any credit. So, whether you have, when you have a vineyard, we're basically farmers now, so you have to count on whatever nature gives you, the climate, the rainfall, if there's too much or not enough. So same thing with kind of gathering intelligence. You don't always get all the information you need, and you have to make the best choices on what you're given at that time. So that's part of, sounds like very different businesses, but there's always a commonality of a certain organization and the strength of the people that you use in each of those. I'm very proud to have managed and run a great team at that agency, as well as we have a wonderful team here. So it's not just making wine and growing grapes, but think of, I bet we have 200 people, jobs we probably have created in Loudoun County. So there's a lot of people that we like to help nurture, support. When our employees, they may start as 16-year-olds working, helping bus tables for us, and we're very proud to see them all graduate, go on to college, and Mike and I even help find through our contacts, we help them get jobs, so that they continue on that way. So we look for different ways of whether we're developing our staff and or even improving the types of wines, the variety of plants that we put in the ground. There's lots of experimentation as well as using science and art to create our products.
I think it's very interesting that you've taken this barn from 1848.
Well, actually, it was 1878, as you said. So it was hand built by in 1878 without any metal. So it's pretty amazing. It's still standing to this day.
So how did you come across Amish?
Interesting when you think of, so we're looking, this is a German bank barn. It means actually Germans that came to this area in the 1800s. So they built this style of barn in Bavaria. When after the Civil War, all the barns were burned in this area at the very end of the Civil War. So there were lots of barns built at that time. So we were looking for contractors that would know how to take care of a barn of this type. It was all hand built. What I really was impressed with, my husband's a technology entrepreneur, physicist as I mentioned, so it was interesting to work with the Amish who may only go to the 10th grade educationally, but have tremendous skills. So we thought, again, how do you help a community of its type? These Amish gentlemen were brought here, they don't drive, they use horse and buggy, so they were driven, it's a 3.5-hour drive. So
every day?
Once they would come on Monday and leave on Thursday. They were driven here. They would stay in a local hotel in Winchester. But to see the determination and that work ethic was really inspiring to us, and we thought we would tie old world craftsmanship with technology. So this barn is loaded with, we've got radiant heating, the solar panels, as I said. When we first opened, we were the largest solar facility in Loudoun County, which is the technology capital of Virginia. So it was kind of interesting that here this barn, because of the number of solar arrays, and by us starting this, we've actually helped and encouraged other wineries to do the same. So that's really a big part of our sustainability. It's like, at this point in time, maybe planting 160,000 trees. So we've saved like 3 coal cars full of carbon from being emitted into the atmosphere. So every day we kind of like to think that we want our customers to feel good about drinking our wine because of the variety of ways that they help us sustain this type of environmental stewardship and then giving back to the community.
So you just had your 10th anniversary celebration, and a lot of vineyards and businesses, smaller businesses, don't make it to 10 years. What do you think was key to your success in doing that?
Well, I'd like to think it's how we kind of treat our employees. We have wonderful, we have customers who, I call them boardwalkers. When my husband and I opened, we didn't have, enough staff, so we had, a couple of barrels and us, wine with a Jiffy John outside. So we have some of those same customers are still coming to Sunset Hills today, and we've actually asked them for their opinions. We consider them, I like to call them friends more than just customers, and we've listened to their input. Mike and I are very big about being focused on customer service, making this a warm, inviting refuge, I would say, from the busy lives that many of us have. We love when people come from DC. If you're kind of cramped for space, what a wonderful way to enjoy fresh air, all of this, green space. One of the things we're really proud about is that we have farms that are put in green space versus being used for subdivisions. So by buying land, which is very expensive in our county, we're creating more natural space and keeping it there. That's a very big conservation and for the future for folks like Sydney and others, and is very important to my husband and I.
And really great award-winning wine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us
Thank you.
today.
I'm honored to be with such an esteemed group of guests.
So next we're going to turn to Mary Tucker. Mary Tucker is CEO and founder of UPick Health in Chantilly, Virginia. She has 23 years of experience successfully launching, leading, and transforming award-winning global multi-channel customer interaction centers in consumer products, banking, and healthcare. She founded UPick Health in 2014 to help healthcare providers meet the challenges presented in a post-Affordable Care Act world and transform them into world-class delivery channels. Mary, thanks so much for being here today.
Sure.
You are a 100% woman-owned business.
Yeah.
And you employ a lot of women.
We do.
How did you find your roar in business?
Well, we've talked about this before, and it's just an ongoing journey. Frankly, the team of women that we employ, and we've got 3 guys working for us now, but the rest are women.
A few good men.
A few good men. We've got close to 70 women, so you can imagine how we all learn from each other, and how they've all synced up with each other, if you know what I'm saying. All women understand that.
No need to explain.
No, but I'll tell you that we find it in each other every day. We had something happen, and this is a holiday kind of season, holiday show. It's a little bit of a dark topic, but I have to bring it up. So I have to bring up a dark topic.
Okay, we're ready.
I'm sorry, but it's real. So a couple of weeks ago, I don't know why this was meaningful to you, Carmen. A couple of weeks ago, Carmen. There was the end of Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Right.
And so it was the last day, and we all wore purple in honor of this. It was, something going on in social media. You would probably have a better clue into that than I would. But I threw on my purple scarf and went into the office. And we started sharing pictures of each other around the office through email and all this. And, because we have 2 locations, one in Northern Virginia, one down in Norfolk.
Right.
And one of my employees said, in response to all these pictures, she said, well, I wasn't planning on saying this. And she put in quotes something along the lines of, you'll never leave this house alive, end quote. And then she ended it by saying, I'm a victim of domestic violence.
Oh, my.
So we were all like, my God, kind of collective arms around this person. And by the end of the day, about 60% of the staff at UPick imparted to all of us in this email string that will forever go down. It's now in our archives of the company. It spawned a hashtag, we are who we serve. 60% of my staff have been victims of domestic violence, either as children who witnessed it with their mothers, and their mothers, yanking them out of the home in the middle of the night, and taking them to a homeless shelter so that they could be safe, living that reality and witnessing it. Sexual abuse from one who's from 5 to 9 years old.
Wow.
By a family. So what we discovered then, so imagine this, when you talk about finding your roar, now we're in an iteration of finding our roar, because now, as an organization, I went and looked at my budget that we had pretty much finalized for the next 3 years, and I said, okay, we got to add some internal counseling here. Because our team, as we have moved into the counseling space, we've now recognized, but our team needs it too, and we need someone that they can trust on staff who understands, so that not only helps them process and better serve the patients that we're serving today, where we do get exposed to these stories every day, but that they can also feel protected and safe and continue to thrive. Navigating these tough waters. that
Well,
we're in.
you talked about this. Let's bring this up a little bit and talk about your telebehavioral services that you're starting.
Yes. So, we were talking about this earlier, because you validated something. This is really, really meaningful.
She's pointing to Sydney.
I'm pointing to Sydney.
Who will be on a little bit later.
Sydney will be on, well, she's on now, technically, but...
but not on the radio.
That's Sydney. So, yes.
For those of you in Radio Land, we're sitting around a table in this beautiful barn in Sunset Hills. It's Sunset Hills Vineyard in Purcellville, with the founder and owner, Diane Canny, and Mary Tucker, and Carmen Felder, and Sydney Sykes, and we really are having kind of a mini view series.
Yeah, we are.
But you can't see us on the radio, but
right, you can't see us on the radio. There's the truer words were never spoken. You just can't see us on the radio. Wait, where were we?
Telebehavioral.
So, about 2 years ago, as we were continuing, our clients were asking us to, add services. And as we continued to add services, we were getting a greater level of exposure to, quite frankly, despair.
Yeah.
And as we tap in, look, we're all humans. We all feel pain. We all know despair. Sometimes it's on a spectrum. Sometimes it's degrees of despair. But we all know it. And so as we were, as an organization, you touched on something earlier, just be a great place to work.
Right.
The greater the place to work you become, and the more you create an open environment where you can talk about these things, the greater the exposure to despair, potentially. Right? Because you're breaking down barriers, and if it's the thing that connects us all, if it's the thread that makes us all human, and you allow a space of trust for that, this is why what you did is really, really important. We can all heal each other. So we started recognizing we could potentially, if there's technology that will help us do this, we could advance this notion of providing resources for those in despair at the exact moment in time they need us.
Great idea.
Our goal is
Great
to get
idea.
rid, through this channel, to get rid of hotlines. I don't believe in them. A hotline is a path to something. If you're in a moment of despair, a hotline is a kiss of death. The words "please hold" are a kiss of death.
Yeah.
You want help right now in this moment, and this is what we're advancing. We're very, very excited to have just signed a big contract with this organization out in Los Angeles, where we're going to be helping those who are in the deepest grips of addiction. So we're starting that through this channel.
And I can't wait till we can get some of this going in Virginia, because we really do have many areas of the Commonwealth that are underserved, and people are feeling helpless and hopeless.
Absolutely, and thanks to you and a lot of others that, but primarily you, Susan. You've introduced us to some important legislators in the state that we've had some good conversations with, because, frankly, what we're trying to advance has some legislative challenges in front of it, but there's energy and interest and will to overcome it, and so we're barreling on through.
Many people out there, listeners, know my story from when I ran for lieutenant governor in 2017 about losing my stepdaughter to addiction.
Right.
For a long 12-year struggle, until it ultimately took her away. But I do believe that if there was more help readily available at that moment when she was about to take a wrong turn, that it really could have helped and saved her and saved us and saved my husband from the horrors of what we've been going through.
Absolutely. We have an employee who only 3 weeks ago, her husband was a truck driver, drove an 18-wheeler, had a load, left Norfolk area, Hampton Roads area, to take off for his delivery in Texas, and he was discovered having committed suicide in his cab in a truck stop in Alabama. And all we could think about was, my God, if we could have just had our counselors on his smartphone.
Right.
At that moment, he could have pressed the button and reached us, and we could have helped him through whatever episode. He wasn't someone who lived in despair. He wasn't someone who was a depressed person in life. But as it turns out, there were some real life struggles that had been piling on over the last several months. And this man, I think, got to it. It's hard to know because, he's no longer with us. But we recognize that very likely he started to spiral and felt he didn't have a way out. We all know that feeling. Oh, sorry. We all know.
She's passionate.
I'll sit on my hands. We all know that feeling. Who hasn't felt that at any point in their lives? If we go back into the recesses, we could think about when we're kids, 8 years old, 6 years old. We know these feelings. And if they're unchecked, they go down deeper, and then they come out later. And we could have helped this guy.
Yeah. Well, it's the holiday season, and you really want to be happy and share all the excitement and the joy of being with friends and family, but there's a whole lot of folks that maybe don't feel that right now.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of joy, and we like to focus on this in the organization. There's a tremendous amount of joy in giving to others. And if you have found personal strength and navigated through your own perils, how powerful is that to be able to lend that hand to someone who's in their own moment in time, who needs some support. And that's what we do, and it builds on the wellness in all of us, right? So when we're able to share, and again, letting barriers down, we're able to look into the eyes of someone who's struggling and saying, I know exactly what you're feeling, and I'm here with you, and you're not alone. There's a tremendous amount of joy in that moment for both, even though you recognize right now things are tough.
Yeah.
But when someone says, I care, it lifts. And those are two simple words. So easy to say.
There's a lot of joy around this table right now. I feel it. I want to move on. Thank you, Mary Tucker with
Sure.
Youth Health, and they're all going to stay around the table here. We've got a great group going here, but I want to move to my next friend, who just lights up a room when she enters. Carmen Felder is a disabled veteran, mother of Malachi.
Yes.
Malachi has told us that he wants to be president in 20 years, so that's
2040.
2040, exactly.
Malachi 2040.
There you go.
Okay.
She was 2017 Loudoun Business Journal 40 Under 40 recipient for top young business and community leaders in Loudoun County, and founder of, and here we go, Authentic Connections, Social Lights of Loudoun, and co-founder and president of 89 Ways to Give, which is a charity with retired Redskins Santana Moss. This woman never stops. But a good portion of her business is helping her community. So Carmen, you got out of the military, and now you're finding your way through all these businesses, being recognized for giving so much to the community. How did you find your roar?
Oh, well, that's a very deep question.
Uh-oh.
It has different levels. So one level would be, I'm a single mother, which can be very, very tough at times. But I also was raised by a single mother. And so I learned her roar, and I had a baby roar, when I was a teenager. And I realized that just because you don't have a spouse or a father, it does not make you vulnerable, less than, or that you can't accomplish anything. So that was one thing. And then I would say that when my mom we didn't have everything. So we lived in Loudoun County. I grew up here. But right now I'm working with Salvation Army. And people say, why did you pick Salvation Army? Because every Christmas my mom would sit out or stand outside Safeway and ring the bell. And that money that she got was probably $7 an hour or something, was for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And she would come home and her fingers were just frozen. And she would have layers on. But she would do it with a smile because she knew that was how I was going to get my Nintendo. Which Nintendos were really cool back in the day, okay? And so I was like, I would see her and how much she worked, and I was like, okay, I need to be great. I need to be a better person. Then being in the Air Force, I'm surrounded by a lot of males, which males are great, but they can be rough. And I said, you know what? I had my son. I said, I want to get out of the Air Force. And they're like, you're not going to make it. I had senior enlisted and officers say, you're not going to make it if you get out. You need to stay 20. And I said, really? Now I'm like, okay, I have to make it. So through different trials and tribulations in life, there was no, Mom, I need help. I need money for rent. It was only me. There was no room for failure. So I had
scary,
to
huh?
be successful. I
Scary.
had to be successful, right? There was no one to call and say, hey, I need this, hey, I need that. And I was the first in my family to graduate from college.
Congratulations. That's huge.
So I was continuously like surpassing what my family or ancestors, did in life.
And the way it's supposed to be, really.
The way it's
Right.
supposed to be. So I decided, I said, okay, I want to come back to Loudoun County. I always loved Loudoun County. I loved that they had the parades and everyone knew each other's names. And, I could go to a church and everyone, I was like my grandmother and my auntie, and we ate after church. I was like eating after church too. I'm like, I love that. And I said I wanted to come back and raise my son in Loudoun County. I felt like that was going to be the best place for him, education-wise, and just people. So my roar came from trials and tribulations, really.
How did you decide all these different, you have so much going. How did you decide how to channel all your drive and your need to succeed to support yourself and your son? How did you find these different pathways? I talk to women all the time that say, I'm not sure what I want to do, younger girls who don't know. I just talked to a college class at George Mason University, and I told them that I never took politics in college at all, not one. And I said, I had no clue, and I had a couple of kids come up to me afterward and say, I'm so glad you said that, because I don't have a clue what I'm going to do. How did you figure out what it was to get your path to go on to be as successful as you are now and be more successful for you and your son in the future? How did you find your way?
Well, actually, my mom will tell the story if you ever meet her. And she always said, Carmen, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, Mom, I want to be a businesswoman and a model. I would say that. And then I would put on lipstick and stuff. And she says, where are you going? I'm taking out the trash. And she said, why are you putting on lip gloss? And I said, Mom, you never know who I'm going to meet at the trash can. And she will tell that story forever. So I always knew I wanted to do something business-wise. And I believe in affirmations, and you have to visualize what you want. So when some of the times when I hit rock bottom, I watched this movie called The Secret, and I would affirm, I would close my eyes and I would visualize myself in a suit, walking in and seeing a boardroom full of people and them recognizing me and them understanding me. And I would visualize it until it happened. Mm-hmm. I would visualize my home. I would visualize everything until it happened. And honestly, I would have to say that being dedicated to yourself and your visions. And I have to also say, hearing no's. I heard so many no's. I've probably heard, for every one yes, I've heard 100 no's.
And it didn't stop you.
It didn't stop me. And when it came to my clients and it came to my friends, actually, I probably owe a lot of thank yous to what you would call envious people or haters, or they would say, oh, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, really? Or people who want to box people in. For example, Socialites of Loudoun. I was tired of groups with just women and this ethnic group, and I wanted a group for men and women who can empower each other, who can uplift each other, give each other advice, who wanted to be good in the community, give back to the community. So I created it, and within a week I had 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it came off of a no. I had my client Santana Moss was doing his first camp, and I reached out to a group in Loudoun County, and I said, hey, can you post his camp? We're really excited. And she said, yeah, for $250.
Oh,
And I said, excuse me?
this is a charity.
Yeah, really? And they had like 3,000 members. And I said, okay, well, I'm not going to charge my client $250 when he's trying to give back to the community. So I created Socialites Allowed based on that. And based on just seeing people having closed minds, we're going to only have these people sitting at the table. We're only going to talk to these people because they're not at the level that I'm at yet. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to create a group where everybody's invited. We're going to share energy, share dreams, vibrations, and we're going to uplift everyone.
And you have a lot of members now. How many members do you
We're
have?
over 10,000.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
10,000.
That's huge.
And how long have you had Socialites of Loudon?
Less than 2 years. I think in April it'll be 2 years.
10,000.
Wow.
That's crazy.
How'd you meet Santana? How'd it come about?
Well, we're gym mates.
Oh, you go to
Gym,
the gym.
I call it gym unicorns.
So you never know. You're right. You can put your lipstick on and go to the trash, or you can put your lipstick on
Go
and
to
go
the
to the
gym.
gym, right?
Yeah, so we were at the gym and we saw each other all the time, but I'm focused with my hat on and my earphones. And I had a client I was managing and he said, oh, let me introduce you to Santana. I didn't know who Santana was. And I said, oh, hi. And my client said to Santana, you need Carmen in your life. And he said, oh, I do? He said, yeah. He says, okay, let's meet, let's work. And so I did a business analysis on him, brand analysis. I said, you need this, 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 and this. He said, okay, let's do it.
And
I'm
so, tell me some of the things that you do with 89 Ways to Give, that give back to the community and those in need.
Well, we had our launch party of our foundation May 12th of this year. And since then, it's been amazing. We did, of course, a celebrity auction to raise money for our camp, which was in July of this year. So we've had a camp, we had a cycling event. We collected book bags and donated them to less fortunate people. We had a coat drive. We also are working with the Washington, D.C. Children's Hospital Sickle Cell Unit for research. We're trying to bring awareness that giving blood not only to places like Red Cross, but directly to the hospital is what they need, because the hospital has to buy from Red Cross.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Interesting.
They do?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So you think you're giving your blood to Red Cross, which Red Cross is good.
Yeah.
But then the hospital has to buy that.
I see.
So someone who has a blood disorder like sickle cell, if you could just go directly to the hospital,
Interesting.
it makes a huge difference. And what Santana and I didn't know, well, African Americans are normally the people who have sickle cell, and we both had cousins with sickle cell.
Oh.
The doctors didn't tell us that the cure probably was in our blood. So family members need to donate blood because we could be helping our family. So knowledge like that, we are sitting there with the doctors and researchers, and we're like, really? We need to share that knowledge. So sharing knowledge and letting people know this is how you really can help makes a difference. Now we're working with Salvation Army. We're actually, next week, we're going to be giving, we chose some kids for their Angel Tree program, and we are giving these gifts to the parents.
Wonderful.
And once again, it goes back to where I grew up.
Right.
My mom was working so hard to have gifts for me, so it just makes sense for us to work with Salvation Army with that. So we've done that, and we're going to have another cycle class, and then we're going to have a Santana Claus. Isn't that a great name?
That's a great
Oh, that's
Santana
great.
Claus.
That's
That's
hilarious.
perfect.
Yes, so we're going to have that this Thursday at Social House in Ashburn, where we're collecting toys and donations to give back more.
So if anybody's in the neighborhood, can they
Please
just
come
drop
out.
on
Yep,
by?
yep.
What time
between,
is it?
Between 6 and 9 on the 19th at Social House Ashburn.
Okay.
And actually, Social House is going to give out $10 coupons for everybody who brings a toy.
Wonderful.
Very nice.
We're going to have lots of athletes out there, and I must say that Santana, being one of my top clients, he's a great guy.
He is.
And I
I can
believe in
verify.
him,
Yeah.
and he believes in me. And we work great together.
He's good. Carmen, thank you so much for all you do. And so we're here again in Sunset Hills Vineyards barn, beautiful barn, historic barn in Purcellville, Virginia. One of the owners, Diane Canny, Mary Tucker, CEO of UPIC Health, Carmen Felder, 89 Ways to Give. And so we're going to shift just a little bit to Sydney Sykes. Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
Sydney is an amazing 14-year-old woman who has become known worldwide for her makeup designs, and she has over 28,000 followers on Instagram. Now, Sydney's mom, Amy, told me a little bit about how Sydney found her roar at such a young age and how she's giving back with that roar at the same time. But why don't you tell me in your own words how you came to become so well known and do what you do? Well, how did you begin it?
Well, thank you. So, it kind of started, so my mom and I were on a live stream, and if you don't know much about Instagram, you can film yourself, and it's live for all these people to see. And my mom and I were just talking, kind of bickering back and forth, and somebody...
As teenagers and moms do.
Yes, 100%. So we were just talking, and somebody commented that they were getting bullied in school, and, like, they needed advice and help, and, I mean, I felt really bad. Like, how would you feel if, like, someone came on and, like, they started saying that they were going through these things? So my mom and I, like, we kind of, like, guided her through, or what we would do to, like, help her get through it, or, like, confront the bully or whatever was happening. And so many people, I mean, there was paragraphs after paragraph after paragraphs of all these things that people were going through.
All over the world?
Yes, all over the world. I had several, like, a few hundred people on. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Thank you.
Better mic.
Yeah, and then after my mom and I ended the live stream, I checked my requested DMs, and so many teenagers my age and older started reaching out to me. They were struggling with their sexuality, and they were, like, coming out to me, or didn't know how to come out to their family. And I felt really, like, special that they wanted to, like, talk to me, and I wanted to help them and uplift them and try to help them through whatever they're, like, struggling with. And it got really, like, dark, and kind of what we talked earlier. Mm-hmm. And, like,
Mary Tucker was talking about?
Yes, we were talking earlier. And so many people, like, just like a press of a button, like I felt so good to just be able to, like, be there and help them, like, to just someone to talk to. Because, I mean, I can kind of relate to that. Like, it always just, like, feels good to have someone to talk to and just say they care and, like, help them through whatever they're struggling with.
But this all started, let's go back to the beginning. This all started because of your interest in makeup?
Yeah, I mean, I really...
Now, your mom tells me you were 13, and she said, Sid, you're too young for makeup.
Yeah,
right?
It was a kind of a fight at first. I struggled with acne, and I just wanted to find a way to cover it up. At first, I had no idea what I was doing. It was a little bit of a hot mess, but it worked out. So I was like, can I get this makeup? And she's like, no, if you want it, you're gonna have to buy it. So I've always kind of been a hustler, like, to my dad helping me.
Let's use a different word.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's use a different word.
Hustler. What's wrong with hustler?
I mean,
Very motivated.
motivated. Yeah, so I started dog walking, and I kind of started in 3rd grade selling candy bars to my 3rd grade class. I started dog walking to, like, raise money to, like, buy makeup, and, like, I kind of played with it, and I would do my friends' makeup, and their parents would call my mom, like, asked if she did that, and she was like, no, like, Sydney did it, and it made me feel really special, so I thought I would kind of start something with it. And I really didn't realize, like, with social media, how much you can help people. Like, I never thought anyone would be saying these things to me or looking up to me to help them, and it just made me feel really special. I try to uplift people. Like, I want to grow with them, and having my followers know that I care about them, and they can always come and talk to me, and it's so incredible. I love them all, and it makes me feel so good.
What a great thing for such a young woman
Amazing, very impressive.
to do. So your Instagram is, give us the what is it called, your Instagram again?
How can they find you?
Yes, how can they find you?
You can find me on Makeup by Sid Maria Instagram, all one sentence.
And so who are your clients?
My clients are usually women older than me,
Many people.
That's a lot of people.
Well, just older than my age. I'm pretty young.
15 and up.
Yeah.
A lot of women.
And Carmen actually helped me so much. She put me on the social lights of Loudon page, and she's helped me tremendously.
She's a junior socialite.
She's a junior, okay.
Oh, that's
Wow.
great.
She's helped me so much, and I wanted to thank you. Like,
you're welcome.
oh my gosh, she's an angel in disguise. All these women are. They're incredible, and I look up to them. And I'm so glad to be here.
Well, it's funny how we met because someone was trying to bully you on a social group. They were bullying you. You had posted something, and they were like, "She's too young. This is how girls get in trouble." And I was like, "Are you serious?
Yeah.
She's passionate, you know."
Yeah, well, people didn't really understand. Like, they would comment just like mean things, and I've always kind of been more tough. Like, I let things roll off my back. I don't really let it affect me because I know it might just be a troll or someone online behind a screen.
It was
So
terrible
it was-
because it was
yeah.
a grown woman.
Yeah, they would say I'm too young or I shouldn't be wearing all that makeup, I'm attracting the wrong kind of attention. But to me, it was just a form of art.
Right.
I love to like express myself. And it kind of made me think about other people trying to express themselves. And actually, one of my hairstylists, we were talking as she was doing my hair, and she had a greater following than me, like 50,000 followers, and people were just commenting such mean things didn't even have to do with her makeup, and she had to delete her page, and it was just so much. I was like, people can just be so mean, and that's why I try to like help people and uplift them with me, because I don't understand why people have to be so like cruel sometimes.
Are you still getting attacked a lot on social media?
Not as much lately. I try to respond like positivity, like thanks, like have a nice day. Like, I mean, I just don't really associate myself with them. I mean,
Where do you think most of your followers are? Are they local or they're all around the world from what I understand?
yeah, they're all around the world. So it's really cool when I'm on a live stream again and people will say, oh, hi, I'm from Brazil. I'm like, oh, hi. Like, it's incredible, like all different countries. And people will translate and sometimes they're in different languages. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. But it's really, really incredible.
So do you think you're going to keep doing this?
100%. I'm so passionate about it.
What is
Like,
your mom and dad are here. What do you think they say about this?
oh, they're all on board now. At first, after she started realizing how I could help people and this is my passion, this is what I want to do with my future, she definitely hopped on board and helping me with it, both my parents and my family.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years, man.
I know, that's a long time. When you're a 14-year-old girl.
Yes, when you're 19.
Yeah, when you're 19,
Oh my gosh.
not even 21.
I'm hoping to kind of grow my following and, I mean, just keep helping people, my long-term goal is to make my own makeup line. I kind of want to keep I'm kind of a micro-influencer now. I'm hoping to become like a macro-influencer. I think that's the terminology. I'll make my own makeup line, keep helping people, and keep doing what I do.
That is, Sydney, that is just so wonderful and an inspiration
you.
to a lot of people and a lot of young
Thank
people.
you.
They need, between Diane and Carmen and Mary and you, we can solve a lot of problems maybe, huh? You think so?
And she's the
Yes.
future, and it's a great role model for the
She
future.
really is. She really is the
Thank
future.
you.
So,
Thank you.
the last woman I'd like to bring in, and I'm going to mispronounce her name, I know it, because I've been trying for the last couple hours to get it right. She is from Austria. So I'm going to bring her in because there's this accent that goes with being Austrian that I don't quite get. So I'm going to say, Helena Galan, come on in. Come on and grab a mic. I saw Helena's picture in the newspaper, and I was so excited about a young woman Helena, when did you move here to the United States?
About 3 years ago.
3 years ago. And you came and settled here in Loudoun County.
Yes, right
And
away.
so what I saw in the newspaper was that they got these grants to build a bakery. She makes traditional Austrian strudels with high-quality local ingredients. They've been operating out of shared commercial space to this point in Chefsgate in Ashburn. And she has been the recipient of several grants to build her own, commercial bakery, right? Mm-hmm. Including from the Commonwealth. And in that commitment to using Virginia-grown apples, which we have a lot here in Loudoun County,
know.
supporting Virginia's agricultural community. So how did you find your roar? How did you decide to do this, to bring this strudel from Austria here to Loudoun County using local products? You're a woman-owned business. Tell us about how did you find your roar here in the United States?
How did I find my roar? It was kind of a journey coming from Austria, and I'm a special education teacher.
Really?
And I came 3 years ago. I had to wait for my green card, and I really wanted to work. And then I started to think about what else I can do, and ended up with baking and getting really good feedback from neighbors, friends, family, and then I thought, why not start a business? This is what America is, right?
Right, exactly.
I hear so much about people who start their own business having a completely different background, and I thought, why not me? And I started in a shared commercial kitchen space in Ashburn called Chefscape, low overhead, great people, building a network there. And then I wasn't expecting that I would be that successful with Austrian hand-stretched, handmade strudel at markets. And yeah, I just kept growing and going, and now I'm having my own bakery. I would have never thought that I would do that ever in my life.
It's wonderful. So how many people do you think you'll be able to employ when your bakery is finished?
A lot, I hope.
A lot. So currently you sell products at local markets.
Exactly.
Can they get your products online? Do you ship?
That's what I'm working on right now, because I need to ship it frozen. So I'm still figuring out how. I'm doing that right now. That I get people writing me from Texas and Florida, and I want to be able to do that soon.
Now they can do it here in Virginia, though.
They can call me.
How do they reach you?
They can on my website, littleaustria.com. You can just write me an email or call me, text me, and pick up the strudel at my location in Sterling, Virginia.
Well, in our last 7 or 8 minutes here, I really want to talk about what we all have learned from each other today. I've learned a lot just listening to Helena, being someone coming from a different country here, and what they feel America is all about. I've learned from Sydney. I wish I had such foresight and ambition when I was 14.
Very mature.
Yeah.
Mature.
From Diane, who's gone from being in the CIA to now a winery and several others and other farms, and making great wine for the greater good. From Mary Tucker, who helps so many women and people, men and women, every day in her business, and she's never stops. She's like me, she has one speed, 100 miles an hour. And Carmen, whose whole life now comprised of helping her and her son and all of the people around her. She really never stops. I talk about me going and Mary going and all of us going, but Carmen never stops. What is the biggest thing you think we can say to our listeners today about, hold it, Mary, about how you found your roars and how you can help them or they can help themselves to find their roars, given that this is a political talk show usually, but this time of year I thought it was important to think about giving to others more, and women in business, and that's what this one is all about. So, okay, Mary it's having a hard time holding back. So, Mary Tucker, CEO, you pick help.
It's just that Carmen said something when you were talking that I think is important to really highlight. You said you watched The Secret. It's also a book, visualization of what you see, not only for yourself, but what you see in the communities that you want to serve, being really, 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 really crystal clear about that. That is a through line with everybody around the table. Those visions can be iterative, right? But it's important that we honor them at all points in our lives, because that's where success is. It really is. You're living proof of it. You love makeup. You envisioned that you want to put it out there what you do. Look at what's happened. You were crystal clear with that within yourself. You bring people to you when you're clear. So that's the thing that it's
Diane?
Diane is about, sorry, pointing, because we're on the radio. But Diane, the thing that I heard was not only creating and producing great wines here in Virginia, but doing so as great stewards of the environment, which is the larger vision, right? And you're doing it. So that's the through line here, and you coming here saying, well, look, I got to do something. Helena. I got to do something.
Helena. Okay, here we go.
Well, I got to do something. I'm here in the country. I know how to bake this strudel, so by gum, I'm going to go bake this strudel and see what happens. And look at what happened when you were clear with that and decided to just go with it.
Carmen? Carmen Felder with the 89 Ways to Give?
Well, I think that when you were talking about suicide and depression and bullying, there are two ways to deal with that, and just life, based on how we are. We've all been bullied in some way, had depression. You can either take that, absorb that, and sit in it and be it, or you can visualize something else, surround yourself with powerful people who have great vibrations, and see something that is not right now. And I think all of us have done that. If you think about you came over here, what am I going to do? Well, you figured it out, right? You could have just been like, you know what, I'm just going to sit here, I'm just going to get a mediocre job, but you found your roar. Right? So I think with all of us, empowering each other also is important. Don't think about yourself. Me.
Right.
As you grow, you should be pulling other people with you. If you're not doing that, then you're really not a true leader.
Yes,
Exactly. Diane? Diane Canny, Sunset Hills Vineyard.
I was also thinking of the common thread is turning no's into a yes. So and just always having determination, persistence, and creating your own, story. So don't let other people say you can't do something. I like that idea that when they tell you can't, that really means that it should inspire you to really show them that you can do what you do, like Sydney's done.
Sydney, last word from you.
Yeah.
Sydney, our 14-year-old, 28,000 Instagram follower person.
She's a rock star. She's a rock star here.
She's like a rock star here. She was louder than the rest of us here on this table, I think.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, stop. Thank you. So I really, what Carmen and Mary were saying about The Secret, my mom actually, we read that together. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, if anyone knows, I'm a competitive cheerleader. And I could not get my skills. And I was like, I can't do this. It's just not working. But she taught me how to change my mindset and be positive. Okay, just picture yourself doing it. Like, I can do it. Like, I'm going to do it. And there's no one who's going to stop me. And what you both are saying, I'm like, you're preaching to the choir. Like, I totally relate to that. You just got to, like, really think positive and, like, say you can do it. And what Helena was saying, like, why not her? Like, why not anyone? Anyone can, like, achieve this no matter where you came from, where you grew up. Like, anyone can achieve anything. You all are just amazing women. Thank you.
Helena, do you have a last word from you?
How about eat my strudel?
Yes. The smell is amazing.
I had a sentence in my head, but I don't.
So we're dumbfounded by the rock star.
Yeah, the rock star. It's a blinding rock star here. It's hard.
Tell us when your bakery is going to open, you think?
My bakery is open.
Oh, it's your open.
Oh, it is open now.
Okay.
Oh.
But it's not a retail store.
Not yet,
That's
okay.
a misunderstanding.
Okay,
It
all
is
right.
a pickup location and a production facility.
But we can buy this for the holidays. I think this is a wonderful holiday treat.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Strudel and wine.
Smells, we have to do some consider wine pairing with strudel. So with the
There
German
you go.
bar and the
There you go.
Austrian connection, I like that.
That was very
There you go.
interesting.
I think that,
I think that's great. I love the strudel and wine idea.
What a wonderful gathering this morning. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a little different than what we normally do on political talk shows, but I think it's an important message, particularly this time of year. I'm all about about women and a few good men. And yeah, a few good and you are all great examples of what women are doing now, because women feel so much more empowered by other men and by other women. And we need to support each other every opportunity that we can. Thank you very much for joining in. I'm Susan Platt. Find your roar. We'll talk to you next time.